Good morning and welcome to Eat Smoke Drink. I'm Eat Smoke Drink. Today I'm exceptionally excited to review this particular dram. This dram is the CADENHEAD 56.8 1977 Convalmore 40-year-old. Now the bottle looks real ugly because someone was gracious enough to give me a sample of it, and I'll give them credit in the bottom of this video. A little fun fact about Convalmore, first and foremost, is Convalmore is now permanently closed. It is a closed or an extinct distillery, so you can't get new Convalmores anymore. They're all in barrels and you have to wait for them to be bottled and then you can drink them. So this is a 1977 40-year-old Convalmore, and I'm very excited. I've had it before, but I'm very excited to review it with you because it's not every day that you get the opportunity to sample a whiskey this old in this kind of tier and bracket. So let's, as per my usual, I've put a couple of drops into one sample and no water in the other sample. So I'm very excited to take you through this because, like I said, it's 40 years old. It's older than me. I'm only 20. So, I mean, this is just an exceptional bottle to sample, okay? Let's get to it. So this distillery, the Convalmore distillery, is a Speyside distillery. Okay, so the Speyside is known for its sweeter, fruitier, smoother kind of whiskey. You don't get much smoke in there, you don't get any peat, you don't get any of that, you don't generally get any of that, but on the nose you immediately get a waxy, fruity note. I'd say coconut, kind of a hint of passion fruit, and for a 40-year-old whiskey as well. Now, this is one of the oldest whiskeys I've had. I probably had some 35 or 38, 36-year-old whiskeys. This is the oldest whiskey I've ever had, and it's not heavily wooded at all. So the barrel must have been just the right kind of activity. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I've had some older whiskeys, even younger than this. I've had like 21-year-old whiskeys, and I just find it's just too woody. The wood is well balanced. It's got a really, really good nose. I mean, it's just a beautiful smell. The smell is just a perfect perfume. It's hard to actually pick what you're smelling. I think that's just due to the age and barrel activity. The flavors and the smells are very well integrated. I'm getting a jasmine, a slight jasmine note to this. A very slight spice. Now let's compare it to the one with a couple of drops of water in there. Look, when you put water in there, it takes away a lot of the fruit, actually. It takes away a lot of the fruit, but there's not much difference in the nose. In terms of the fruit, it's a little bit more subdued. You get a little bit more spice. On the nose, I would prefer it with no water straight away, just because the intensity, but there is a balance. The complexity, but it's not too overly confusing. I get a hint of a Glenelgan nose in there as well. Sorry, I know I'm going on a little bit about it, but I really want to savor this with you because it's 40 years old. It's a 40-year-old whiskey, so I need to savor this with you. But it's time to try it. It's in the high 50s, but the sensation is extremely mellow. There's not really much burn in there. I mean, there is a little bit, obviously, the high ABV, but it's very oily, very waxy. I'd say more oily than waxy. I'm getting a little bit of black tea coming out. I'm getting floral notes to it. I'm getting a little bit of that dunnage warehousing. I'm not sure if it is a dunnage warehouse, but I'm getting a little bit of that dunnage warehousing in the back of my my throat there. That could also be just from the age of it. You know, obviously it sits there, it's a bit musty, so that could also be that. Green apple. Definitely green apple. A slight medicinal herbal taste in the end. I'm getting a slight herbal note to the end. I wouldn't say savory, but of course, I mean, a lot of herbal flavors can be quite savory. I'm getting a little bit of rosemary and thyme right in the back end, but you know, it's very fruity. I'm getting a slight minerality, but the flavors, I'm struggling to get you the individual flavors actually, because I'm finding that it's extremely well integrated as a whiskey. It's very well integrated, so the flavor you're getting is just a super pleasant and intense and complex flavor, but I can't quite pick out the individual layers of it so easily like some whiskeys, so I'm a bit of a loss. I mean, there's spice, there's fruit, it's extremely oily, my mouth is still salivating. Let's try that one with water. Funny enough, with the water, it actually makes it more spirituous. You actually taste the alcohol burn a bit more, which is bizarre to me, but that just shows you how every single whiskey is different. I would definitely say I prefer it with no water. Right now, I'll tell you, because with the water, I get a slight grapefruit bitterness in the end, but it's more reminiscent of the spirit. I'm tasting the spirit, not the flavor. I think it's just, yeah, with the water, the alcohol burn is actually a little bit more. Yeah, the nose also is just not quite there, so both of that already gives me a bit of a, you know, a bit of a bias towards no water. Yeah, I mean, with the water, it becomes a little bit more two-dimensional, which is, you know, which is really not expected. I mean, a lot of high ABV whiskies, you know, water does help it, but in this case, I mean, I'm still getting the same notes. They are more separated. I'm getting white pepper. I'm still getting the green apple, like a freshly squeezed green apple juice with the skin, but I'm getting a little bit of an orange marmalade and orange flavor to it now as well. But the white pepper is coming through a little bit stronger. And what I don't like about it, what I don't like about the water, is the oiliness has been tamed a little. So this whiskey, the oiliness to me without the water is absolutely exceptional. I mean, the oiliness just coats my mouth. Without the water, the oiliness subsides a little bit, which is a little bit disappointing because I do like that oiliness. I do like that richness, the thick body. The chewiness, I do like that. Let me just go back into it again. I mean, why not, right? No, a very exciting day today. I mean, a 40-year-old Convalmore, an extinct distillery. It's not every day you get to try something like that. My conclusion, no water. Why? Because the waxiness, full force. The oiliness, full force. You get the flavors, they're well integrated, and they just marry up perfectly and beautifully. There's no need to alter it. Some whiskeys, yes, I find that water is better, but in this case, I think water, I mean, not to say that it's become bad, but it just doesn't have that character that without the water has. Very exciting. Now the question, cigar pairings. What pairing would I make with this? It is not a robust flavor. It's not an Isla, it's a Speyside. So the flavor itself is not going to hit you in the face. Okay, so I would say for a cigar pairing, I would go with a milder cigar to a medium bodied cigar, a mild to medium. I would recommend, obviously the luxuriousness of this particular whiskey, hey, splash out for a Behike or a Edition Limitada Cohiba. Why? It's just a luxurious feel of it. And also, the integrated flavors of those Cohibas actually go well with this as well. There's no flavor spice. It's not going to confuse your palate. It's just perfectly integrated with a whiskey that's perfectly integrated. For non-Cuban, I'd say a natural Padron. That would be very good. I wouldn't go with Maduros or a double Maduro or anything like that, or any of the Ligas. It's going to drown the flavor. You won't taste anything. There's no point. Thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you very much for joining me for this super special whiskey. I will give credit to the donor and the sponsor of this whiskey, Paul, the Honeyman Pink Panther. So hit subscribe and ring the bell. If you've got any questions, please comment. Have you had this before? Share your thoughts with me. Do you prefer it with water or no water? And I'll see you again next time. Thank you.